Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the analysis of Yoleno TV. I'd like to start this analysis by taking you back to those comments which the KWANZA Alliance used to make. During campaigns, that is when Kenya Kwanza were doing campaigns, and a specific reference to, I want to go straight to the prime CS, that is Mudavadi. Mudavadi made some comments that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was planning to sell or to auction the Kenya Ports Authority. That was what they used to call the state capture. Most of the propagandas which were being propelled back then were only inclined in making sure that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta's name is tarnished. And those propagandas were meant to play to the downfall of Raila Amolo Odinga's political ambition, and that is stopping Raila Amolo Odinga at all costs from becoming the president of the Republic of Kenya. So that propaganda was successful. I remember the propaganda of SGR and Port, whereby the Kenya Kwanza said the immediately they take over this government, they would bring back the operation of Port to costs. That was basically trying to reverse all those clearing and forwarding activities that are taking place in Naivasha to the coastal region. That was one of the ambitions that Kenya Kwanza had, and unfortunately that has not taken place. And what we saw previously 2 to 3 days ago is the CS Murkomen saying something that was contrary to that plan or that ambition that they had. That is now trying to do things Uhuru way. Why am I bringing that example in this analysis? There is the talk of auctioning or selling all the stakes of the government in the KQ to Delta Air. That is, I was going through a certain a magazine, that is a Business Daily, that I came across a title saying that Ruto meets Delta Air, wants to sell all state stake in KQ. So, in that article, President Ruto met executives of Delta Airlines in his American trip, where he launched the government bid to sell its entire 48.9% stake in Kenya. That is the stake of the government in KQ, 48.9% stake in Kenya. So the president held a meeting with executives from Delta Airlines, the largest, and by the way, if you didn't know, Delta Air is the largest US carrier by market value. That meeting was held on Thursday. But the funny thing with this is that I may liken this move to sell the stake of KQ to Delta Air to the move whereby Port KPO was to be sold to Dubai ports. These two things point to the same problem that Mudavadi mentioned at the time when they were doing campaigns. They talked about state capture. And in their state capture narrative, they were saying that Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta alikuwa anauza state assets, alikuwa anauza assets za serikali to foreign countries. So this move to sell KQ stake of the government in KQ to Delta Airline is almost the same thing. So what William Samoei was trying to do is exactly what they said Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was doing, the propaganda that Mudavadi propelled back then during the campaigns. So let me go straight to this, to a statement that William Samoei Ruto issued in the wake of that plan to have KQ stake sold to Delta Air. This is what he said: "I'm willing to sell the whole of Kenya Airways PLC." That is the time Dr. Ruto told Bloomberg News on the sidelines of the US Africa Leaders Summit in Washington, D.C. on Friday. And this is what he said: "I'm not in the business of running an airline that just has a Kenyan flag. That's not my business." I may liken whatever move that William Samoei Ruto is making to what Dr. Arikana said, that Biden cannot just invite people into the country if he doesn't have an agenda. I look at this selling of the KQ stake to Delta Air as one of the agendas of that Biden was secretly formulating. The idea was to have KQ sold to US. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, from this expose, I think that's the truth. Sell KQ stake to the US so that the US can be controlling even the airline of Kenya. So Ruto went on and said, that is President William Samoei Ruto went on and said, the government is looking for partnership that will make Kenya Airways a profitable entity, whatever that means, in whatever configuration, whatever form it takes. If I may translate this statement by the president, is that he says that he is going to sell those stakes at all costs. I don't know whether this move has been discussed in Parliament, but we've noted that most of the time, what Kenya Kwanza government does, most of the things that they do, some of them don't go through Parliament. If I may refer to this Hustlers Fund, there have been talks. I mean, one politicians are saying that Hustlers Fund did not go through Parliament. Parliament did not deliberate on that funding. So the question that most people are asking, is where is this fund coming from? Mind you, Hustlers Fund does not have a committee. So by virtue of the fact that it doesn't have a committee, so it leaves so many people with so many questions as to the source of the Hustlers Fund. But nevertheless, many Kenyans have taken loans from that initiative. So should the president actualize this selling of KQ stake, the government stake in the KQ to Delta Air, without having the parliaments deliberate on it? I mean, what is that going to mean to the Kenyan public? That would mean that Kenya Kwanza government is not adhering to the constitution. The constitution requires that this thing has to be discussed in Parliament and a mandate has to be issued by Parliament. But again, I know we have our courts, though most people think that the courts are compromised. But should this sale be actualized, then someone rushes to the courts, I think the courts will stop this selling of the stake. But again, I look at myself and I ask myself, what was Martha Koome's main agenda when she made that trip to the US again? What was her agenda? Again, that is a factor that has to be considered. So that means at all costs, the government will dispose the stake it has on the KQ to Delta Air. So that means the narrative that Mudavadi used to propel about state capture, hiyo mambo ilikuwa ni mambo ya kudanganya wananchi tu, kwa sababu hapana, hili swala bado wanalifanya wenyewe. Mudavadi anaona likifanyika, na walikuwa wakikashifu Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta kwamba alikuwa anataka kuuza port ya Kenya to Dubai port. That was the auction that was being done. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly share what your opinions are below the comment section. Do you think this move to sell KQ stake to the US is going to be okay? Mind you, KQ has always been branded as the pride of Africa. It is what we Kenyans are proud of, our own airline. So if this airline is disposed, that means we will not be having an airline of our own. That will be a major shock to the Republic of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly share your opinions, sir, and don't forget to subscribe to Yoleno TV. You can give us a like, you can hit the notification bell so that every time we upload such videos, you will always become the first person to get notified. Now, ladies and gentlemen, kindly stay safe, stay blessed until we catch up again in our next analysis.